Do you have a script? Do you have questions, or do you just want to go?
I've got a few questions.
Okay, cool, fine. I've done podcast interviews before.
You've done podcast interviews before.
This is different anyway. I didn't know this was happening.
Yeah. I did ask you about a year ago.
Oh, okay, fair.
Shumai guys, welcome back to the Life to the Full podcast, the podcast that helps you make the most of your time here on Earth. My name's Dav Morse, and I am your host. I'm very excited today. That voice that you've just heard is the voice of Kerstin Cable. Kerstin is a wonderful person. She's a good friend of mine, and I wanted to get her on the podcast to just open up really about things to do with mental health that I don't really understand. She is someone who is physically fit. She's done triathlons. She's cycled across countries. She is in a marriage that has lasted a long time. She's been with her partner for a long time. She's got her relationship dynamics well sorted. She's also someone who's grown businesses and been financially responsible, financially healthy. So I wanted to get her to share some of her experience of some of the mental health issues that, despite all her accolades, that she has suffered with. We go into all sorts of topics, like the beginning of her mental health struggles, things to look out for, things that helped, things that definitely haven't helped. I hope there'll be plenty to take away from this wide-ranging conversation. So, without further ado, let's get to the interview. Kerstin, I know you as a language learner.
Okay.
A podcast host, a Welsh learner, which is how we connected.
Yeah.
My first ever friend on the internet that I met in real life.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That came from, I think, you just posting something like, "Hey, I'm going to be in Cardiff. I've been learning Welsh. Who wants to hang out?" And I was like, she sounds pretty cool. I'm going to go for it. And so that's how we connected.
Yeah.
More recently, you have pivoted to business coaching. And so now I know you as a podcasting business coach guru. Although,
just the person who bangs on about whatever is on her mind, really. Yeah.
You may not use the word guru to describe yourself.
No,
I use the word guru to describe you because you are the person I look to in the podcasting world for inspiration and ideas and encouragement. So,
yeah.
Yes, welcome to the Life to the Full podcast.
Yay!
That is a little bit of how I know you, but how would you describe your early journey in life? What's brought you here? Give us the overview. Young Kerstin, German Kerstin, living in Germany somewhere.
Yes!
Wants to come to the UK. Tell us all about that.
All right, okay. So if I normally introduce myself, it's a lot less complimentary than what you've just done. Thank you very much. Okay. So I was born in Germany. I grew up in Germany in a small village in the Moselle Valley. And lived there. Like, it's really like proper small village life. My parents are winemakers. My brother is now a winemaker. My granddad's a winemaker. So we're just a tractor driving family, really. But I started coming into contact with languages in sort of kindergarten time. Was already fascinated, and I think I just really kept the fascination. I remember how excited I was to learn English. In Germany in the 80s, certainly you'd get like a certain image of the US and the English-speaking world, and you'd hear pop music on the radio. So I knew there was another language out there that is way cooler than ours. So I learned English in school, and just kind of got myself through school. Really wanted to move to England, England at the time. Didn't really know about Wales and Scotland and all the kind of
That comes
full
later
British
on
experience.
in the journey.
Yeah, it does actually. So after 2 years of like higher education in Germany, I came across and I did my last year of university in the UK, and since then I've lived in the UK. So more than half my life is British now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite something. Moving to a different country and then just
to a different country,
living there.
Yeah, on my own as well. Like sometimes people ask, "Oh, does your family live here?" People always ask, "Is your husband German?"
Yeah,
as if like no, he's not.
You came to Germany. You came from Germany to England
to find another German.
To find another German man. It makes no sense.
No, didn't really happen. So, long story short, or trying to shorten a long story, stayed around for university, did a master's degree, met my boyfriend, moved in with my boyfriend. 10 years later, married my boyfriend. Not very exciting, really. I mean, it's good.
That's a beautiful,
good relationships
beautiful story.
Are exciting.
Beautiful story.
Yeah. And I've been living in the UK ever since. And I used to have a not normal job. Okay, I've never really had a normal job, like in office. But I used to have a job as an international officer. And I did that for a while until that kind of broke. And then I had to, I guess, reinvent myself or something. Age 30.
Yeah.
Get to know myself again. Started language tutoring.
Yeah.
Slowly grew that into like this blog and podcast and sort of all sorts of stuff. I got really interested in how people learn and I love it when people do hard things. I love it when people challenge themselves, when adults get involved in this because people want this for their kids, not always for themselves. So I love it when an adult gets involved. So yeah, that kind of went into the more and more coachy kind of world, so like language learning coaching, because I'm just so interested in how this actually works and the psychology of it and motivation, and built a little online business called Fluent Language.
You say a little online business.
It is.
It's you've done quite a lot of downloads on your podcast.
Yeah, we're past the 2 million.
Wow.
Easily. I've done a lot of episodes.
Mind-blowing to me. And you've built a little following of people that just love your stuff.
Maybe, hopefully.
I got hooked on your Fluent podcast. I loved it. I thought that you had an incredible way of connecting with an audience, which I hopefully can somewhat recreate in some way here on this podcast.
I know, and now that I'm talking more about business and sort of being a business owner, I do want to make another podcast. I think it'll be really exciting and interesting. And yeah, I think when I was not little kid, but like when I was sort of 8-9 years old, I was fascinated with radio and radio hosts and like talk radio and just how a radio host, just a radio DJ connects with people. Yeah. Connects with an audience. You don't have those words for it, but it's just this like you genuinely feel like you know those people. And they're kind of that companionship that you get from a podcast. I love it. It's really, really good. Yeah, it is. It is a very strange dynamic having these parasocial relationships. That's what they call it now. Yeah, yes, it's true. Yeah. I heard a great Freakonomics episode on parasocial relationships. Interesting. Yeah. Fun times. On the Life to the Full podcast, I like to talk about financial health. Yeah. I like to talk about physical health. I like to talk about mental health, relational health, and spiritual health. So those are the 5 things. Okay. Do I rank them now? It's like how good I am at the different bits. I rank them how good you are at the different bits. Interesting. I'd love to hear your thoughts on where they come importance of life. Oh. That's not a question I've asked before, but no. Well, okay. You got mental, physical, financial, relational, and spiritual. Okay, so from home, from how I'm brought up and how I think about stuff, my instinct is to put financial really high. Yeah. But I don't really love that in myself. Like I think and worry too much about money. I'm organized with it and all that stuff, but I don't think it's actually as important as my mind wants to make it. I think relational is probably more. I don't really hear it talked about as relational health, but like having good relationships. Yeah. And it's not just, people often think of relationships as a relationship you have with a significant other, a spouse or a partner or a boyfriend, whatever it might be. Yeah. But it's more that relationship with other people in general, family members, work colleagues, friends. Yeah. Just, it's hard to, I live in a different country from both my best friends growing up, different country. Like one lives in America, one lives in Germany. So I never see them, once a year, maybe. Yeah. I live in a different part of the country to friends I had in the UK. And friendships are really important to me. And having friendships in person is not as easy as you think.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about this before. Like, I'm a grown-up in a married relationship who doesn't have kids. So there's a whole, like, pre-built social corner that I don't go to.
Yeah.
And that seems to be where everybody's social relationships live. So it's a different way of interacting. So I think relational, for me, it's really important because also I'm really extroverted and tendency to get lonely otherwise.
Yeah.
So, like, I've just spent a weekend in Cardiff pretty much on my own.
Yeah, I love
going
that.
out all the time. Because I love just being in a room where all the other people are.
Yeah.
And people watching. I need that around me.
Yeah, I love that. I'm very similar. I'd happily just go somewhere but you take it to the next level. Which is great. I love that.
Yeah, I do a lot of solo stuff. But, like, I'm very happy in my own company. But I do love people around me. And I'm married to a massive introvert, so we challenge each other, I think.
That dynamic really fascinates me, and it's probably a topic for another day. Maybe I'll get you back on and talk about relationships at some point.
Absolutely. Okay, right, sorry, too much relationship talk.
Extrovert, introvert relationships, how do they work?
Oh my God, yeah. Get him on, oh my God.
Christian on the podcast.
He wouldn't get a word in edgewise. Which he likes. Okay, so we have those two. We have financial. Yeah. I think, if anything, I overvalue it, but it's certainly important. Relational is super important. You don't have emotional in there. You call it you put it under mental, yeah?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Emotional health and mental health, maybe different things.
This is interesting because I was thinking about both physical and mental health are equally important. And, you know, when you get a little older and you start to, like, worry about maybe your family or friends' physical health, and you're like, I don't know, like, maybe someone will get seriously ill, maybe someone's just sort of, the body is starting to do different stuff. And I'm lucky because I'm mostly healthy and do a lot of exercise and all that stuff, and my body lets me. But mental health wise, I've had way more challenges and I never valued them the same. I was chatting to my partner actually the other day and I was like, oh, I'm worried, like, part of me worries that you'll have a heart attack or a stroke one day, you know, this is so important. And he said, and I said, do you worry about that with me ever? And he said, no, the thing I worry most about is your mental health. I thought, oh, that is actually relevant. It's where I've had the most challenges. It is really where I've had the most challenges. Yeah, so those I would kind of rank equally important, so important. But for me at least, mental health without relational health doesn't work. Yeah, because
they're all intertwined.
I'll get too lonely,
more ways than we think.
Spiritually, I'm probably the most relaxed. Like, I'm not actively religious as such. So I don't really attend any kind of stuff. But I know not everything is just in my control. Like, I'm not fully logical. I'm not, like, I'm, again, married to a very logical person. Whereas I'm not like that. And also I got married in a church. I got christened in a church. So I really appreciate religion in terms of what it does for the community. But in terms of my own internal beliefs, I don't know. Like, why is God a man? That always puts me off. Yeah. And then I'm like, religion can't be fully right.
Lots of questions.
Yeah.
Which we won't go into today.
Maybe
I'll get you back on the podcast to talk about spiritual health.
That's just explaining why spiritual health is not at the top for me.
Absolutely.
Personally. But there is something there.
Yeah. So you've kind of moved us on to one of the reasons that I wanted to get you on the podcast is because I would say my expertise is more in the financial health and the spiritual health and the physical health kind of domain.
Yeah.
So I'd like to get you on to talk about mental health.
Oh, so
boy. We're in a series on the Life to the Full podcast on mental health. So I've got very limited personal experience of mental health struggles, of overcoming them, or to a greater or lesser extent, I don't really have an understanding of the kinds of things that people struggle with. To give people the opportunity to share, sometimes people find it cathartic to talk about these things, and we can edit out anything you don't want to go out. I'll give you full control over, what you want to share and what you don't want to share.
Yes, I will try not to cry.
If you do cry, I think we've got some tissues downstairs. I did make a mental note, right? Take some tissues just in case Kerstin cries.
Oh no. Anybody cried so far?
Nobody's cried so far.
Okay, I will try my best.
What I'd like you to start with, if you don't mind, is, was there a time in your life where you realised that maybe your mental health wasn't as healthy as you might like, or as you might think it should be, or were there any points where you thought, this is not quite the way that I envisaged things?
I didn't think of it in those terms before I understood what was happening. I thought more in terms of, wow, I'm really failing. Like, you sort of feel like I can't cope, or like I'm just not happy. But a friend not called me out, that's too mean, but a friend sort of cautioned me and said, like, I'm not sure you are mentally well, and this was when I was 17 or 18. It was the first time I went to a doctor about it, and I got so defensive to her at first, because I really felt like what she's saying is, you're not trying hard enough. And I remember having, when I was maybe 15 or 16, what I now look back and realize is an anxiety attack.
Okay.
You just sort of massively can't, like, I was really crying. I was really scared about nothing. Nothing was happening. I just got really terrified. And I've had this maybe once, not once or twice, but maybe between 5 and 10 times, lucky me, like that. It's so little, but you just sort of panic, like everything just feels really scary. But I'm not from an environment where mental health is recognized or considered or anything like that, so I just didn't really, like, I just had more, like, various times in my life where I felt like I was just failing, really. So it wasn't, there's no concept of my mental health isn't good.
Yeah.
It was just working ever harder to try and keep up, to try and feel like you're doing okay, but feeling like you're not doing okay.
Yeah.
Not just not feeling okay, but you're just not doing well at anything.
Yeah.
Like everything, from catching the bus to sitting in class, from anything you do, you just do it badly. That's how you feel that's how I felt about myself.
Wow. Yeah.
That's not at all familiar. No, lucky. You're super lucky. That's good.
I mean, yeah, like I said, for some reason, whatever reason it is, I have always had far more confidence in my own ability than my actual ability warrants. I've said that many times. I will confidently say I can do something way beyond my ability, because I have that much belief in myself, which is mostly unwarranted.
That's good.
So yeah, and I mean, I'm sure that there are hundreds of people listening, probably not hundreds of people listening, that, will have recognized something.
Even
of
if
that.
One person listens and recognizes it, it's. I'm hoping it's worth just like talking about it and putting words to it, because no one talked about it when this was not familiar. And then I went to the doctors. I remember this was just before I moved to England. I was in a period of, I had probably, like, I did this specific course where I probably in a month had 30 to 40 exams to take at the end of this course. It was just stressful. There was a lot going on. And these exams, some of them were they were marked in these mad ways, where I remember my French exam, you'd get any accent that you forget on a word or that you just don't put, gets valued as a grammar mistake takes 4 points off 100.
Wow.
Yeah, and like under 85, you've essentially failed.
Oh.
Right? So it was really high pressure situation. It was very intense, and one of the ways I've learned that I cope with high pressure situations is to just, you know, like increase the pressure on myself, and I don't go easy on myself. Yeah. I lose compassion for myself. So it was a tricky thing. And then going into that summer, I was really struggling, and that was kind of when my friend said, like, you're not doing well. And there was a lot of probably like what now you'd think was self-destructive behavior. So like lots of drinking, and it's like I'm a happy drinker. Like I don't think drinking alcohol is bad as such, but I think I was just, you know, like going out partying, and a lot of just being on the internet all the time, just really escapist behavior. You know, just all of it was sort of this kind of self-coping. And when I went to the doctor, in the next village. I didn't want to go to my doctor because I was so embarrassed. So I went, and I remember he was saying, well, what's wrong? Like, you know, like how, you know, the way a doctor asks you, like, why are you here? Instantly burst into tears. Massively, had a massive cry, just tried to put into words how I'm feeling, which was very bad. And when I look at this period now, I'm like, oh, I had a depression. I very clearly had a depression, a depressive episode, and I wasn't coping well. But I didn't like have words for it, and this is when I was 20.
Yeah. You
know, so already like there's 17-year-olds, 14-year-olds now who've got better words than I ever had for how I was feeling. And then this is the longest story ever, sorry. And then the whole thing kind of came back. Another very stressful period in my life, and that was sort of when I was around 30, and I was in my job and really very unhealthy working environment. Got a lot of pressure on me, would stay late until 7, until 8, just doing more and more and more, very unhappy. My partner happened to work on the same floor as me, so I could like go and see him. And I remember several times a week going to see him, saying, can we just like go somewhere? Can I just take like time out with you? And he'd say, yeah. We'd just go somewhere, and I would just burst into tears. I was crying on the bus into work. I was just really, and again, I did not connect this to anything that's ever happened in the past. I just thought, I'm really messing up. Like, I'm just not, why am I not working, trying so hard? And the thing I've learned now is like, the harder you try, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
You can't outwork it.
Yeah.
I really tried. So I went to the doctor, and this was a different kind of doctor in a different country, and probably me less embarrassed. And he diagnosed a depression, said, I will sign you off work and I will prescribe you antidepressants. And at that time I was really like, if you prescribe antidepressants, let's just do it. And I remember saying to him, like, I'm worried I'm going to get addicted to these, because that's something that you hear, or that was like my attitude from home. And he's like, no, they're not addictive at all, which is true.
Yeah. And
you take this medication, and I am lucky. I'm so lucky because fluoxetine, it's called. In America, they call it Prozac.
Okay.
Works so well on me.
Yeah.
Works so well on me. Take it for 2 months, and just everything feels steadier and less. Like, what I've learned now, because I've had since then another like depression, is when I start like that, you really do respond to crisis or stress around you, and anything that you repress, where you try to work through it and you try and keep it together. For me, that reaction is my mental health gets worse. Everything starts to feel harder. My confidence starts to go down. I really struggle, and I didn't just take medication. I also had some counselling and all that stuff, which really, really helps. But I did not expect. I don't know. I did not expect medication for your mental health to work as well as it does.
Okay.
And to really, like, you realize, okay, this is just, I'm just functional. Like, this is me normal.
Yeah.
You know, like, it just brings you back to, okay, this is me in a good mood.
Yeah.
I've not felt like this for ages. And you just don't, I don't know. I didn't expect that that's how it works.
Yeah.
So it's given me all this appreciation because, I don't know, you got a headache, you take a painkiller.
Yeah.
But there's an entirely different thing attached to like medication for other things. So it's really given me a lot of faith. It's good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that either.
Oh, sorry.
No, as in I wasn't. You know, the same idea of this. You know, you got a headache, you take some painkillers.
Yeah.
Whereas that is not the same message that you necessarily would get from the public about, you know, mental health.
No, and we shouldn't take it lightly. You know, you shouldn't just like pop because they build up a balance in your brain, so they work differently, and you can't just come off them and come on them. They take weeks to kick in. You really have to dose down very carefully, so it's not exactly the same. But to understand, okay, this is a serotonin reuptake inhibitor, which essentially, here comes a very caveat, I don't really know if I'm getting this right. But
sounds
it's
sciencey.
Yes, so serotonin, obviously is it a hormone?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, a hormone, a messenger in your brain that tells you, okay, good things are happening. You know, like sun is shining, we're happy. The cell that sends it out kind of asks for it back, is my understanding, and then the message doesn't get through. So that's why you start feeling like you're in a hole and you really feel like you're sinking. Yeah. You know, to me at least, my memory of this is like you're sinking down. You can't quite come up. So the SSRI, what the medication does, is it stops the reuptake. Okay. Apparently. Okay. So the message gets there again, which is why. So, and then when you start thinking through this, you realize it really is an illness in the sense of there is a chemical imbalance. Like, this is my brain doing weird things. Yeah. It needs a bit of a knock. It needs fixing. Yeah. And you can deal with this. You don't have to take medication for it. You can treat it in many different ways, and you shouldn't just do one thing. Yeah. But it's really something to be wary of. And now I'm much more aware, and it's only getting better because I respond quicker to it. Yeah, that's great to hear. Well, as in, it's great to hear that you're responding quicker and you recognise these things earlier on. Yeah. Like, I phoned the doctor last year and I told him, like, I think maybe I need to get back on this because I just can't. I'm much quicker at recognising I'm in a little bit of a hole. I can't dig myself out. Yeah. I need a bit of help. Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like, and you may want to correct me, sounds like stress was a big factor in the onset of these kind of episodes. I'd say so, yeah. 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 And aside from the medication, which obviously helped massively, is there anything else that you've found that helps? Talking to people, God. Or counselling. Everybody, every human in the world needs to do counselling. It's so good. But especially I remember the first time I went to counselling. I remember, like, because again they ask you why you're there, and I sort of was describing like how much I'd messed up, and that was the first time someone challenged the voice inside my head that tells me I'm messing up, and just went, "Is that true?" And I'm like, "Oh, whoa, hang on." And then you just have, like, it has this thing where at some point I feel like, for me at least, there's a real element of just, do you hear yourself? Yeah. You know, and you don't hear yourself, especially in a mental health episode. You really don't hear yourself, all the nonsense you're talking to yourself. And in that sense, just to have that space and have somebody stop me spiraling has really helped. Yeah. That's been really good. You were asking me what works, and counselling 100%, but also exercise, I think. Exercise. Yeah. So I was exercising before, but now I really understand that it, for me, is a good way of regulating myself. Yeah. Regulating my energy, having a bit of brain space and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. You cannot fix depression with exercise, I don't think. Some people seem to think that, but it is a huge part for me in terms of well-being. Yeah, interesting. I do hear a lot of people saying that exercise is good, and like you said, I imagine it's not the case where exercise just fixes things. But if we're talking about things that will help the situation, if you're stacking things that work, like
exercise, talking to a counsellor, medication. It's all gonna.
Well, ideally, you don't even want to get to the place where, like, you know, like you said, for me, stress is a massive factor.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't prevent that. You know, like, life comes and goes with really hard periods.
Yeah.
But you do want to be, like, the thing that I have learned is resilience. And that for me, a warning sign is when I feel like my resilience is down, every little thing just really knocks me in a different way. That's when it gets dangerous. But I've got a much higher sort of, like, stack of, I don't know, resilience space normally. That's
really interesting, because I've spoken to a few people already, and everybody's going to be different. So anything that advice, one of the things I will ask you, and you know, is there any advice, any tips for people out there listening? But yeah, everything is so personal, and almost sounds like you need to go through the struggle. Or
I hope not. I wouldn't wish it on anybody else. Something that really helped me, that I don't think my family knows that this helped me. So I'm not from the kind of family that ever really talks about weakness or being well, you know, like, it's not that. But at some point I heard that my grandma, one of my grandmas has, like, I don't know, blue periods or whatever we're calling it, like
blue periods.
But I think one of my grandmas struggles with her mental health, and I found this just so validating, I guess. Just like, I'm not the first person that's ever broken. Yeah. Because you do feel, I don't know, for me at least, I feel like I'm just broken, unworthy, you know, like, it really knocks my confidence. Yeah. Which already is a little bit of a shaky, like, I'm not as confident as you are.
Are there any unexpected positives that have come out of your battle struggles?
Yeah, for sure. Got to know myself so much better. Once you know yourself, you value yourself differently. Value my way of dealing with the world around me. I understand so much more about the way other people respond to me isn't really about me, it's about them. So it's made it easier to be a person in the world, because it's taught me a lot about the differences between me and other people. Yeah. Which I don't think you need to have a depression for that, or you need to have any kind of, you know, mental health struggles for that. But for me, that also helps me just cope better with when I'm not feeling well. Yeah. And I think it really shook me. Like, I had to like I said, before I went to counselling, I never really thought about that this isn't my failing. Yeah. And this is, like, aged 30. Yeah. I've really had the crisis.
And if we think about the parallels with physical health, sometimes, like, physical health issues arise from stuff that you've done or outside circumstances, but some of the times there's no real reason for it. And I'm guessing that there are things that are harmful for one's mental health which one can avoid, but you can't necessarily avoid it completely. You know, sometimes it's something, well, like you said, you know, genetic, or so I know Rachel's family, there's a lot of people in her side of the family that struggle, and it almost seems like it's something that just kind of happens, and there's not, like, really.
It might run in families. I do think maybe, again, like, for me, it's like understanding resilience has been a key to understanding, kind of, like you said, stress kicks me off. And when there is too much, when it compounds, that's when I run out of energy to deal with it. Yeah. And part of it is because I don't necessarily value myself enough in that time to take a break. It's start working harder, trying harder, which then takes away from the actual resilience, like, box that you draw from or whatever, the battery.
Yeah.
So I'm not very good at taking a break. And I think there is something about, maybe it's genetic, but I think there's also something about the culture of the place you come from. I don't know if that's quite right, because I don't know if depression rates, like, we probably don't talk enough about mental health to really measure this, but it'd be interesting to see if mental health gets worse or better, or is worse or better in different parts of the world.
Yeah, I'm sure that there are many cultural factors and many geographic factors.
That's beyond my
which are
expertise and knowledge.
beyond the scope of this
this
podcast for today.
It's definitely beyond what I know. Yeah, it makes you more compassionate, I think, with yourself. Once you can be more compassionate with yourself, you can be more compassionate with other people.
Yeah, being compassionate with yourself makes you more compassionate to other people. I like that.
Yeah, that's a positive outcome for sure.
Well, that's fantastic. Thinking about bringing things to a close,
Righty.
Are there any tips for the audience? Anything that you would recommend?
The only thing I would say is, when you're not feeling happy or confident and it goes on for weeks, or when everything just starts to feel harder, don't ignore it and try to outwork it. Maybe if the one question that you can ask is, if there was something wrong with my mental health, if there was something I could do for my mental health, what is it that I would be doing? And trust me, a spa weekend isn't going to fix it. Don't you laugh, but that's like, I've thought that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like, oh, well, how dare I, like, treat myself all weekend. Oh, it's going to be fine. I'm going to be fixed.
It runs deeper than a spa weekend.
100%. So to just take it seriously and allow yourself to go and talk to a doctor. I know the healthcare isn't great everywhere, but talking to someone rather than not talking to someone is still better healthcare than you can do for yourself. So just don't ignore it.
Don't ignore it.
Yeah, that's only, like, I'm not going to give tips on, do this, do that, because people are so different, but just don't ignore it. Don't try to will it.
Yeah. Fantastic.
That's all.
Great.
Not giving any other tips. No way.
Well, Kerstin, thank you very much for coming on the Life to the Full podcast.
You're welcome. It's a very different kind of interview.
Yeah, you're not used to this kind of interview.
No. Very personal.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And I value your honesty, your openness. I value your friendship. And so thanks for...
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Yes, no,
if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way? What, do you not want them after this?
Yeah, don't tell me your sad story. No, but I can't help. But no, seriously. Yes, absolutely. If people want to find out what I do, there's 2 websites. Now there's 2 because I do all the things.
Yeah.
There's KerstinCable.com. Which you can put it in the show notes so that people know how to spell my name. No one ever knows. And then there's fluentlanguage.co.uk, which is for people who like languages or teach languages or learn languages.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Isn't she great? Isn't she so much fun? Here are some of the key takeaways that I have had from my interview with Kerstin. Number 1, recognizing your mental health struggles is initially difficult. You might not notice them if it's the first time that you're struggling. And
when I look at this period now, I'm like, oh, I had a depression. I very clearly had a depression, a depressive episode, and I wasn't coping well. But I didn't have words for it. And this is when I was 20. Like the thing that I have learned is resilience. And that for me, a warning sign is when I feel like my resilience is down. Every little thing just really knocks me in a different way. That's when it gets dangerous.
Key takeaway number 2 is stress is a massive factor when it comes to struggles with mental health. But 2 things that really help are counselling, talking to someone, and exercise.
You were asking me what works, and counselling 100%, but also exercise, I think.
Exercise.
Exercise.
Yeah.
I was exercising before, but now I really understand that it, for me, is a good way of regulating myself.
Key takeaway number 3 is that good can come out of even really bad situations. Whatever it is, if you work through, don't try to outwork it, that doesn't work, but just slowly seek help, get to the root of your issues, and there will be good at the end of the tunnel.
The thing I've learned now is, like, the harder you try, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
You can't outwork it.
Yeah.
I really tried. Once you know yourself, you value yourself differently. Value my way of dealing with the world around me. I understand so much more about the way other people respond to me isn't really about me, it's about them. So it's made it easier to be a person in the world, because it's taught me a lot about the differences between me and other people.
Thank you so much for your time and attention. I really appreciate it. I really hope you enjoyed today's conversation. I'll be back soon with another interview. And in the meantime, if you like the sound of Kerstin, check out her stuff. The links will be in her show notes. Her show notes? The show notes. Till next time, peace out.